Hello everyone, my name is Denise Dorrance and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my first graphic novel. It's called Polar Vortex. That's the cover and that's me and my mum. But before I talk about that, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm American, which you can probably hear from my accent. I grew up in Iowa, which is where the story is set. And I moved to New York, and then I moved to London, which is where I live now, and work as a cartoonist. One of the first characters I developed as a cartoonist was Mimi. And Mimi is a lot of fun to write. She's a very selfish mom, and has appeared in various magazines and newspapers, and we even published a collection of the cartoons in a book. But we're really here to talk about Polar Vortex, and it's a story that's very close to my heart. It's inspired by a very intense period of time I spent with my elderly mum last year. She fell at home and was rushed to hospital. So I rushed out to be with her, completely unprepared for what lay ahead. And what I thought was going to be a couple of weeks, kind of helping her through this period, turned out to be 6 weeks. And they were very intense weeks because this massive weather system arrived the day after I got there. And it was called a polar vortex. And that is like a tornado. It's made of snow and ice and very, very cold air. And while I was there, I started a diary, mostly because I was really bored. Days are very long in a nursing home, but also because I was meeting and overhearing hilarious stories of the characters who live in the nursing home. And I also felt that I needed to record how I was feeling and the way I was observing my mom, she's got dementia. So it became apparent very quickly that my mother was not going to go home. At night, in what was usually a kind of ice storm, I would make my way home and be locked in on my own in the house I grew up in and start sifting through memories. Boxes and boxes of letters and photographs and mementos. I mean, the house was full of stuff, and I started to remember so many details of my childhood growing up. And that is really the plot of Polar Vortex. There's the current story of me and my mom. She fell, and I rushed out to be with her, and then I had to relocate her across the United States to be with my sister. And I had to actually resolve a very difficult relationship with my sister. The two plot lines sort of swirling together in this vortex. A timeline from my childhood, memories that were buried deep in letters and boxes of photographs. It was an intensely emotional time with my mom. We were isolated together, a bit like things are today, and it was very challenging. So I reduced her life to 2 suitcases because that's all we could take with us on a journey from Iowa to live with my sister on the West Coast. Although Polar Vortex is a personal story, a bit like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, I was sort of swept up into this swirling mass of memories and feelings. I think it's a story that a lot of people can relate to. And for those of you who might ask, is it paper and pen and pencil? I'm on my iPad Pro, working in Procreate, and it's been a revelation. Absolutely brilliant.